welcome to the greatest, latest, baddest, maddest show of shows, the Commander Football Show, facts, history, and news. I am your host, Football Freak Freddy. Let's give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again, fans, to another primetime edition of the Commanders Football Show. And today, we're going to talk about some facts, history, and news. It's going to be a shorter version. But first, let's take a commercial break. Equate pain reliever. Do you have pain? Are you hurting? For certain? You got a headache? You got feet pain? Well, whenever you have a pain, get Equate pain or it. Pain is gone. Equate pain. Get next to Equate. Touch yourself with it. And the pain relieves. Now, back to the show. Facts, history, and news. Football season's getting close, and we are in training camp. The Commanders are in training camp. Terry McLaurin still in contract dispute. I don't understand. Why don't they just pay the man? Yes, he's 30 years old. Don't hold that against him. He's been in the league for about 8 years now. But he has had 5 productive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. So why hold this against him? He's a great wide receiver. He's been the number 1 receiver on our team for years. Why not pay him? They had an interview with Terry McLaurin, and he kind of expressed his frustration. And he says, you know, I've built my life here. My wife and I, we brought our first home here. He wants to play here. He wants to be here. And right now, he's frustrated because he's asking for more money, and they're not giving him what he wants. And I don't understand the Washington Commanders having a billionaire for a owner. Just pay the man his money. Just pay the man his money. So, also today we're going to look at some Commanders breaking news. We're going to look at some facts, and we're going to look at history. So, but first, one more commercial break. Are you bald-headed like this? And wishing you had hair? Well, I can show you the solution. Alopecia, stimulating hair growth. Do you need more hair? Are you wanting to grow more hair? Perhaps a beard? Perhaps hair in your chest? Or hair on your back? Or hair in your arms and legs? Well, alopecia, anti-aging, anti-thinning, amazing hair growth. Well, I wonder what happens with amazing hair growth. Well, you can go from bald, like that man, to this, with alopecia amazing hair growth. So, you no longer have to look like. You no longer have to look like this. But just try every day, daily, a few drops of alopecia. Put it in your scalp. Rub it in at least 3 to 5 times a day. Or, depending on how much your hair you want to grow, an amount of time. So, you can go from the bald man to looking like that with alopecia hair growth. Now, back to the show. All right. So, breaking news. The Washington Commanders have signed a 1-year deal to edge defender Von Miller, who has come over, former Denver Bronco and a former Buffalo Bills player, Von Miller, who is now signed with the Washington Commanders, and he has signed a 1-year deal. And he is a good edge rusher. He's 36 years old. He's up in age. But Von Miller adds depth to that defensive front, and he also adds a pass rushing threat. Yes, he's 36, but he can still get to the quarterback. And that's exactly what they did. They signed Von Miller. And looking forward to Von Miller playing with the Washington Commanders. Once again, breaking news. Defensive end Von Miller has been signed away from the Buffalo Bills. And his new team is now the Washington Commanders. And he will add some depth to this team. And he will add a pass rushing threat. So, looking forward to Von Miller joining the Washington Commanders. And they want to make the Super Bowl. They want to go. They want to go now. Football is a game that needs to be won now. Yes, there's times that teams rebuild. The Washington Commanders last year proved that they've already taken the first step. They've already taken the first step to rebuilding. They got the quarterback that they wanted. Now in the offseason, they fixed their offensive line, and they've added a key offensive weapon. So now the Washington Commanders are trying to bolster their defense, and in my opinion, the defense is not where I would particularly like to see it. I think they need to add more pieces to it, but I think their defense is going to be far more better than what it was last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing Von Miller join the Washington Commanders, and I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing how they line him up on defense. Now, he's not going to be a full-time starter. He's going to be more like a rotational player. He's going to be more like a rotational player. But I really look forward to seeing Von Miller come to the Washington Commanders and wreak havoc on the defensive line. And they're gonna need a player like that against the Eagles, with their high-powered offense and Saquon Barkley Um, so this is a really big deal, and I'm glad that they have signed him. Um, I'm glad that they got an edge rusher. Period. They've been needing one. They didn't get the chance to draft Von Miller. I mean, they didn't. Excuse me. They didn't get the chance to draft a defensive end in the draft, and so now this is a big deal. So Von Miller, breaking news, has signed a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders at 36 years old. He still has some juice left in him, and hey, let that man play 20 to 23 snaps a game. You know, this is like asking, this is like drafting a very good 3-point specialist in basketball. You don't need him to start the whole game. You just need him to come off the bench and hit about 3 or 4 3-pointers that'll bolster your offense. And this is excellent. This is excellent. This is going to help them, and this is going to take pressure off the secondary and off the linebackers on defense when they play good opposing offenses this year. So, looking forward to that. Excuse me just a second. So, that's that. Von Miller has signed a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders. Terry McLaurin is still in contract dispute, and they got to pay him. They gotta get all of this taken care of before the season starts. We need our number one receiver. Just pay the man. Von Miller wasn't a huge signing, so that should open the door for Terry McLaurin to get paid. It should open the door for him to get paid. Now, facts, history. Let's look at some facts. The Washington Commanders play their home games formerly at FedEx Field. Now it's called Northwest Stadium. The team is currently owned by Josh Harris, who acquired the franchise in 2023. The team mascot is Major Tuddy, an anthropomorphic pig in a helmet. Yes, a pig in a helmet. That's their mascot, introduced in 2022 as an homage to the Hogs offensive line of the 1980s. So let's give the Washington Commanders a hand. Their new mascot and team. So, history. The Commanders, I just want to take a quick look at the Commanders-Eagles NFC Championship game from last year. The Commanders finished with a 12-5 record, and they went into Philly. They had split a game each. They each won a game on the others. They both won home games against the other. The NFC Championship game pitted the Eagles against the Commanders, and the Eagles pretty much handled the Commanders like they did the first game. And the Commanders, what killed them was turnovers. 24 turnovers, which led to 28 Philadelphia Eagle points. The game would have been a lot closer had it not been for the turnovers. The game would have been a lot more competitive, and I believe that the Commanders would have won if they hadn't made those mistakes. The first 3 turnovers eliminated their chances to take the lead in that game. 10 turnovers in 3 games total versus the Eagles. You can't turn the ball over against a team like that, because you'll lose every time. The second game that they played at Northwest Stadium in Washington, though they had 5 turnovers, they were fortunate to come back and win. Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia quarterback, was injured in that game, and Washington came back and won that game with late fourth quarter heroics by quarterback Jaden Daniels. They won 36-33. So the turnovers pretty much hurt the Commanders' chances in that NFC Championship game. Second thing was Saquon Barkley was hard to stop. And in those other games that they played him, they couldn't stop him. He had 118 yards on 15 carries. The first Eagles opening play of the game, he bust out the seam, hit the edge up the field for a 60-yard touchdown. The rest of the game, he only had 58 yards, but his impact was still felt. He later ran a 4-yard touchdown. And late in the game, he ran on the 4th and 1. He bust open for a 22-yard gain, which brought the Eagles to the 1-yard line, and Jalen Hurts ran it in from the 1, and they ran. The score was 48-23 at that point. The game was already over. But Saquon Barkley, they've got to set the edges this year, because Saquon Barkley absolutely destroyed them in 3 games. So players like Von Miller and Dietrich Wise and Dorrance Armstrong, they're going to have to set the edge. They're going to have to get upfield, and they're going to have to penetrate whoever's offensive line they're playing and get to Saquon before he can get in the open field, because he's dangerous and he's a threat to score anytime on the field. In the fourth quarter, there were no fourth quarter heroics by Jaden Daniels this time. This time, there were no late game comebacks. The Eagles' defense was phenomenal. They held the Commanders when they needed to, 3 and out a few times. But in the fourth quarter, Washington could not do any better than 23 points. And like I said, had it not been for the 4 turnovers and being unable to stop Saquon Barkley, then the game may have been a lot different. So this year, the Washington Commanders are going to have to they're gonna have to tighten up on defense, and they're gonna have to stop the run. It's a wonder they made it to the championship game last year. They had trouble against the run all year, but against the Eagles, division foe like that, and a running back like Saquon Barkley, you can't afford to let him have big running days like he did last year. So hopefully this year the Commanders will tighten up on defense and set the edges better and get upfield quicker and slow the running game down. If they can be better against the run this year, and their secondary can improve just a little bit, they'll be a hard team to beat. They'll be a hard team to beat. Well, that's all I have, fans. Thank you once again for joining the Washington Commanders Football Show. I am your host of hosts, Football Freak Friday. Washington Commanders Football Show. Facts, history, and news. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.